Strap yourself in
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
This is
the Humane Roundup podcast.
And now, here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to episode 21 of the Humane Roundup, a podcast where we take you into the demanding yet rewarding lives of animal control, animal service, and humane officers, as well as a behind-the-scenes look at animal shelters. I am your host, Officer Hildy, and we have mostly everyone with us today. We gave Officer Ocho some time off to celebrate his son's 18th birthday, so happy birthday to little Ocho.
Little Ocho.
Birthday, little Och. He's just, he hasn't got the cho yet.
Little O. What's up, guys?
What's happening?
We keeping it humane, man.
Yeah. How's everyone's week going?
Good.
My week has been crazy. I don't know about you guys, but
I actually worked on Saturday. I say that, but I mean, I actually did work. I wrote a couple tickets.
did work.
I had 4 impounds on Saturday, plus 2 tickets. That's like, for me, I mean, I do work. I'm actually, when all things being equal, if you're looking statistically, I'm always up there at the top. But I think because I had a trainee for so long, it felt like I haven't worked for so long. So it was nice to just get out in the field and put in that work.
Isn't that a great feeling? That's a great feeling when you don't have a trainee for the first time. You sit in your truck and you're just like, oh my God, it's just back to me. I can pick my nose and no one's going to see me.
I could say whatever I want to the public and then I can deny all of it without having a witness next to me. So yeah, it's good.
You can cuss out dispatch before you actually key up the mic. Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean, I love training.
Well,
I love those opportunities.
Right now, so if you guys hear a phone call, you guys know the drill.
We do.
Yeah, I'm on call too.
Yeah,
We do
Yes,
know the deal.
sir.
I'm gonna put my money on Kyle. Since it's cold where you live, I'm gonna put my money on slow the ACO today, getting a call out. And I don't know about you, Kyle, but here in Colorado, when it cools down, man, the on call is just kind of die, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, our call volume in general seems to go way down in the wintertime.
Yep.
I attribute it to less people are outside, so less people are witnessing things. But I've been doing this long enough now where I enjoy the wintertime where it's slow, because I know that come like April, I'm going to be doing 15 calls a day, and that's for 6 officers. So
Absolutely. And just really quick for the newbies that are like, man, this slowness, like this is weird. If you're working in, somewhere where it's colder weather, use that time to create certain things for your department, like create outreach programs, talk to schools. That's the great time to go and do school presentations because you're not busy, work with your local, your agencies that you would work with fire, police, and go in and just talk to them about what you do. And I think that's really important to use this downtime to do things like that.
And don't complain to the veteran officers because there's no calls to do, because we enjoy it.
Absolutely. Even here in California, it's not cold here. It's like 50 degrees, but
Shut up.
It has been like rainy and kind of gloomy and disgusting. So it's slowed down for us as well. So, well, with that, let's jump into today's episode. We are going to start with a Do You Know Him? And we're going to be featuring Officer Ettinger today.
do you know him?
The legend.
Where you at?
What's up, son? Keeping it humane, man.
So welcome back to another episode or segment of Do You Know Him? So today we're going to be talking to Dan the Man. I have so many nicknames for this guy, which I'm not going to mention on the podcast. Because
tell him what you really call me, son.
I call him Skinny Long D. Now the D is for Daniel, and he is skinny and he is long, and long meaning tall. So next time you guys see him, you guys can. It's funny. You text me, and then my wife is like, "What did that say?" I was like, "Oh, Skinny Long D." What does that stand for? I was like, "Oh, well, his name is Daniel, and he's skinny and he's tall, so I call him Skinny Long." So it was pretty funny.
Well, she sounds hideous.
Yeah.
Joe, I had that same conversation with my wife like 2 days ago, and I was like, "Get your mind out of the gutter. His name's Daniel."
Well, I appreciate that plug. It's a really good nickname to have. So thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
So, as you guys know, Dan, he was kind of adopted after he came in and did an episode with us. And he was introduced as Daniel. I couldn't say his last name, Daniel Edinger. Did I say it right?
That's correct. Ding, ding.
Oh, cool. So he came in and he was just interviewed because he was doing the cool thing with the matchboxes. And he pretty much came and never left. So now he's here on the podcast long term. Well, I hope long term. And today we're going to get to know him a little better. So you guys can also see what he's about, because he pretty is an amazing guy. Just being here, just talking, a lot of information for you guys and for us too. And me as well. I'm learning a lot as I go with this podcast. So how about you tell us a little bit of where you're from?
I grew up in good old Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So all my people in that area that know what that kind of city is about, I don't need to explain it, but it's a really neat, unique city where when I grew up there, it was kind of just coming out of the Depression as far as losing the steel mills and such in the late 70s and 80s. And, just having that experience coming from, I really wear it with a badge of honor, coming from poverty, dealing with adversity is something that, I think about it almost every day. And so having that kind of motivate you to do better in life and not be in those same situations.
Now this whole thing with how many years you've been working for animal control?
So I started as a volunteer in 2009, and shortly after I got on as a regular officer. Well, I wasn't even a regular officer. It was a seasonal officer in 2010. And that only lasted a few months until my first baby was born. And I moved closer. I was actually driving about an hour back and forth to go to work. And a job opened up closer to home. So I took that, but that was just a temporary job. And that was also in 2010. And then I moved over to a nonprofit in 2011, stayed there for about a year, almost a year. And then I got on with a city. And so I've been there since basically 2000. I've been in the industry since 2010.
So you're obviously very passionate about this job. And what are some of the things that you saw in this field that made you think that you need to change something? Because obviously you had a vision of changing the outlook of animal control. We constantly have this discussion about at ACL, you don't like the animal control officer. You wish it would change just to something more positive. So when did you realize that you wanted to change that?
It started because I think I was so prideful in telling people what I did. I even lied about it, actually. There was a time we were in Hawaii, and I wasn't an ACO at the time, but I really wanted to do that job. And I was working in some just dumb computerized, like sitting in a cubicle, not enjoying work. But I knew that was my vision. And I remember we were at this awesome farm in Hawaii. We were you could pick your own veggies to eat and sit down and just eat with a group of people. And somebody asked what I did. I was volunteering at the time, but they asked what I did, and I lied and said I was an ACO. And so I think for me, it was like really taking so much pride in that. But every time I told somebody I was like, yeah, I do animal control, their face, like, they're kind of like, yeah, the fucking dog catcher. Like, no, I'm for real. Like, and so, I think over time it evolved to our department that I work for now. It used to be animal care and control. That's a mouthful. And they did a market study, and they decided to call us animal protection officers. And I know we do go back and forth about it. And, I'm going to respect everybody's viewpoints on the show. At the same time, I feel that it's partly my duty as an animal protection officer to push that forward as we just look at it. Basically, like, to me, control just has a negative connotation of, I'm going to control you. I'm going to control these animals versus, but as like, animal protection officer is like, all right, I'm here to protect the animals, but I'm also here to protect the people from those animals. I'm here to help prevent disease control, but I'm also here to protect, the disease from spreading when we do quarantine them. So it's a preference. There's, one of my classes that I teach called Dropping the Dog Catcher by the Pound. I list over 17 different titles. I'm going to say that again for my listeners, or our listeners, excuse me. I list 17 different titles for our profession. Now, our profession can vary, but for the most part, somebody just asked the question, and we'll get to it later, but they're new, they're an ACO, but they do their investigations. They don't have humane officers in their city, etc. We basically do the same thing, and we need to figure out a uniform name. And I just think it's time to move away from the animal control and do something more progressive.
And that's something that I noticed you're very passionate about. You're really your view, and one of the things I've really noticed about you is really big, and you're like, I don't care about money. I really just want to make a mark in this field and change the outlook of people. And I really like that about you. Now, obviously, just like the rest of us, you have a hobby, right? What's your hobby? I mean, is it true that you rap with Wu-Tang Clan?
I actually was on stage at a Wu-Tang concert prior to them coming out. So we jumped up on stage when the DJ was playing some music, and we just everybody kind of freestyled a little bit, but that was 20 some years ago. So you rap. I did. I definitely had some cassette tapes for all you youngins listening to this.
Didn't you just post a picture on Instagram of you in a studio?
Yeah, that was me and Jazzy. We were at my kid sings at the studio, so we were playing around at the microphone, pretending that we were about to drop an album.
Can you spit some bars for us? Can you do like a
no, I can't.
Like,
absolutely not.
Yeah, but Ocho's a real singer. I think that was. I'm glad you brought that up because it's a good segue. No, for real. I think it really helps me in today's world and in the field that I'm in.
Being a rapper.
That the lifestyle. So if you think about it, right? If you think about like our profession, not even that. So, I'm fairly, I'd say I'm significantly older than both you, Hildy, and I guess Kyle, you're closer in age to me, but so Ocho would be the closest one, but he's not on the podcast.
How old do you think I am, bro?
You're only 30, son.
Yeah.
That's young. So
you just turned like 40?
41. 41. But my point is, and this may be something that you've all witnessed or experienced, but for me, growing up, where I grew up, if I wasn't in my circle of friends, I was basically like, oh, he's a wannabe. That dude's a wannabe. Like, why do you talk that way? Why do you wear those type of clothes? Why do you say those certain words, etc.? Right? And so until 8 Mile came out, that became like the Eminem movie, right? Where people could like experience and understand.
Michigan represent
Detroit, the Dirty D, and Skinny Long D. But in that sense, if you think about it, like people didn't understand, like you could come from poverty, you could experience certain things that your culture, really can be reflected into who you are as a person. And I just think I'm just at this stage in my career, I'm such a more relatable person because I've lived that life, and I've also lived a life where, I'm able to be responsible and, make professional decisions and be a unique individual. Most people in law enforcement, they've never lived the life of the criminal that they may be, dealing with or talking with. So to me, I take that as a badge of honor to be able to do that and understand and be relatable.
Dan, I have a question for you. So you are super big into outreach and talking with the kids and all of that good stuff. Have you always been that way, or was there something that kind of triggered that for you?
I got to attribute that to riding like public transportation at the age of 6 and 7 with my sister, who was like the youngest of the sisters. I grew up with 3 older sisters, and we were out on the bus, like just all, going back and forth to school or just going out and about in the neighborhoods and stuff. So I just think I've had that personality from such a young age.
Got it. All right, Joe and Dan, thank you for that.
One last thing, though, I have to say this because I mean it, and Hildy, don't cut it out. I've had a lot of adversity in this job, and a lot of it is self-inflicted, and I take responsibility for that. But there are a lot of people in this industry that probably thought I wouldn't be here, and I want to take this moment to just remind them that I'm here and I'm not going away, and I continue to just want to help the entire industry move forward. That's always been my goal, and that's going to continue to be my goal moving forward.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. We do have a very special guest today, and I want to preface this with this person is so awesome to me because she actually reached out to us to just let us know that we're doing such a great job, that she is very excited about what we're doing, and she's also kind of connecting us with some other people in the animal welfare industry, and is also our first official sponsor. So I wanted to invite Molly into the conversation.
Yay!
Yeah.
Molly is the outreach manager.
Ocho's in the building.
All right, just keep cutting me off. It's cool. Molly is the outreach manager for Coranda Shelter Beds. Welcome, Molly.
Thank you very much. And I am excited to be here because when I first heard about the podcast, I was listening to the NACA podcast and it was mentioned there. And that's when I started binge listening to everything y'all have done. And I'm really excited about just the conversations you all are having so other officers will feel less alone and have people to reach out to. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you for those kind words, Molly. And I think I just saw Ocho hop into the chat. What's up, dude?
What's up? I just got back from my my son's 18th birthday dinner.
We nicknamed him Little O. We said Little Ocho, but he hasn't gotten the rest of it yet, so he's Little O. And we did wish him a happy birthday, so let him know for us.
All right, cool.
All right, back to Molly. So Molly, like I said, is the outreach manager with Coranda Shelter Beds. And if you've been to any shelter, you've probably seen a Coranda bed in the dog kennels, or a Coranda cat tower, or a cat bed, because they're everywhere. And so, Molly, can you just tell us a little bit about Coranda as a company and kind of what you do there?
Well, Coranda started in late 80s, and my father-in-law bought the first bed from a guy that lived in Coranda, Australia. In fact, he's the guy that brought the Slurpee machine to the United States. And my husband used to make these beds in his dad's basement, and we are not in dad's basement anymore. But as the company has grown, we are so blessed because we get to work with animal welfare organizations around the country. And when they reach out to us about either purchasing the beds at a discounted price or having them donated to their animal welfare organization, we get to meet amazing people. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about what you all are doing, is having another resource to introduce them to make the change they need to in their community. And that's why I loved hearing y'all talk, with Officer Daniel about the outreach work. I just feel like so much of what you guys do, is the face of the community, the face of the animals, the voice for the animals. And where Coranda steps in, when my father-in-law first started this, beds and shelters were unheard of. And now where I grew up, if you went out to eat, they would say, "Do you want a Coke?" And then they would say, "What kind of Coke do you want?" "Well, I want a Sprite or a 7-Up." But they referred to kind of all soft drinks as a Coke. Well, it's kind of that way now with the dog beds in the animal welfare world. A lot of times people will say that it's a Coranda, and there really is a difference in the quality of the bed, that it lasts longer. But the short of it is, they're just like us. When we sleep better, we act better, and it really increases their chance for adoption. And when we're stressed, all of us, sleep is when our body heals and restores. And, we're very lucky to get to help the animals have a quality place to rest and hopefully take some stress off of the officers, because when the beds actually last, it's one less thing for them to have to take care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that every shelter that I've been to or been involved with, I've seen Kuranda beds there, or at least a brand that's similar to Kuranda beds. And so the design is absolutely awesome and a little bit indestructible. I mean, I have seen some of the dogs like just be bored and chew on some of the piping and things like that, but rarely do I ever see any damage to the actual vinyl and those sort of things. So it is for sure a good, durable, high quality thing to send into animal shelters. So off the top of your head, do you know how many shelters that you guys are actually working with?
No, I don't know the exact number, but with thousands of shelters around the country, and it's that they have come to us or reach out to us to either buy them or get them donated. And, the fact that our bed has a year-long warranty and that every piece of the bed is replaceable, because a nervous dog is going to do what a nervous dog is going to do. And originally our beds were just the PVC bed. And now you can get that bed with a metal top corner, which is the area they chew first. And then they also now have aluminum beds where they are, they last so much longer.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, those beds are awesome. The shelter I work with, we have approximately 180 kennels, outside dog kennels, and those things are great. Before we had these humongous, super heavy plastic hard beds that we had to pick up every day and wash down. And these things are awesome, super light, just squirt them and they're ready to go. Things are awesome.
That's what I was going to say. That's the greatest thing, I think, as far as like your staff goes for Kuranda beds, is how easy they are to clean too. They're a freaking breeze. They're awesome. You can clean one of them in, less than a minute, and then you're sterile and good to go. You can move on to the next kennel.
And knowing a lot of the municipal agencies don't have their own social media and marketing team, we are not professional fundraisers, but we're trying to learn from them so that when they reach out trying to get the beds donated, we're trying to pass on what we're learning from them or see other groups doing. And it's been such an honor to watch them, groups that our previous donation program may not have been as successful. And we've learned now this thing you do to get the beds donated is called a campaign. Well, this is the same campaign you do to get the beds donated, is how you grow your volunteer program. And what we really found was, when looking at it from the quality aspect, there were people who have never really supported animal welfare organizations that suddenly started donating to them because they could wrap their brain around that. And for a donor to see one of those beds or one of the adoptable pets on one of the beds, they get to see what a difference they're making. And so it's just a win-win all the way around.
So I worked for a nonprofit. The first time I seen one of your guys' beds, it was in the donation room. And I saw it and I'm like, this is pretty neat because it's lifted from the ground. Because right there where I used to work at, we just put towels down for dogs. And then we had a dog bed, we'll put a dog bed. But most of the time, either the dog will destroy the bed or, the blankets will just get piled up in a corner and they're sleeping on the ground. But when I seen those beds, I was like, that's pretty cool because even if they do pee in their kennel, they could always sleep in that bed and they're safe. They're not laying in their urine and they're so easy to clean, just like Kyle said. And now that I work for a city, we have them in every kennel, and they have to be in every kennel because for that reason, it looks good. The dogs are comfortable and they're just so easy to move around. They're not even heavy. They're just portable and the dogs love them. I've never seen a dog sleep on the ground when they have one of those beds in their kennels. So I thought they were a pretty unique idea. And then when Hildy said that you guys are willing to sponsor our podcast, I was blown away by it. I'm like, that's awesome.
One of the cutest things is when a scared dog hides under the beds.
Yes.
And they like peek their little heads out. They're like, hey, don't hurt me. That's
I love that. They move the bed. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And what I like best about that is that it gives them a choice. For some of them, having the place to hide is the comfort. And some of them, it's laying on it. And some of them, it's for a while, it's on the floor, that they're just like us. They want the choice. And that's where the enrichment is.
Well, yeah, and it's crazy you bring that up because I was just thinking about that we give cats those opportunities. So we will either cover a part of their kennel if they're able to go into a separate section in their kennel, or there's the like feral cat dens. We'll throw a towel over there and so they can go in the den and hide if they want to. We don't really give that option to dogs, but I guess with these beds, they do have the opportunity if they're small enough to kind of go under and hide if they want to.
Oh, but we have some Coranda. I think they're Coranda cat beds, where they're a little higher up, and we're able to put litter trays underneath the bed.
That is exactly, and knowing how with their little fragile feline immune systems, the more the stress can stay down, the healthier they can stay. And that's why, I reached out to you is, to me, this is about partnerships. This is about community partnerships, which, the outreach, it's everybody. If everybody does a little piece of the puzzle, then we're making a bigger difference. It's about teamwork.
Molly, what has been your biggest success with the company?
Oh, goodness.
Partnering with the Humane Roundup PAWcast.
I was going to say, I will say this is definitely one of them, because when I'm going to probably butcher his name and I'll apologize now, Rob Lindenberger, who was the president of NACA a few years ago, he was the first one where I ever heard that only a quarter of the states in this country mandate training for their animal control officers. It completely blew my mind. And then to hear, as I continue to learn that some are under police, some are under public health, some are under emergency services, some are their own agencies. Like, it started to make so much more sense to me. And personally, I feel like the more support we can give the rescues, the shelters, the businesses, everybody partnering together. And I feel like you all are the ones who, with the right support, have the best shot of doing that.
So did I hear you right? You want to sponsor some scholarships for people to be able to use to go to trainings?
We're actually going to be doing that. In fact, you can say that. In fact, the Mid-Atlantic Conference is about to be the first. They're about to have their first conference coming up in March. And we are sponsoring, in fact, but we've actually already sponsored other officers. We sponsored an officer to go to the NACA conference in Virginia Beach here before last.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that stuff.
Yeah.
There was a great guy who had been an officer for 8 years and had never been to a conference like that. So we would sponsor that.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. It's crazy too. You bring up the Mid-Atlantic Conference because I reached out to them and they're going to be coming on the show just to kind of promote their conference because it is the first of its kind there in Maryland, correct?
Yes. So this is going to sound bad. That one I'm going to be making it to because it's an easy, I can actually go to that and still sleep in my bed at night. So
yeah, absolutely. You talked about earlier fundraising and that sort of thing. So is that a part of your kind of daily thing at work, is potentially doing fundraisers for different shelters or providing them with information on fundraising for them to purchase Coranda beds?
Absolutely. That when somebody reaches out, some groups, especially, it's fascinating, the groups with limited budgets who you would often think would go the fundraising route because they feel like this is such an important investment, especially when they don't have any kind of enrichment program. They will purchase the beds at a discounted price, but then it's like we can show them how to take that purchase and start seeding the campaign so that when they do need to get additional beds, they will have already laid the groundwork so that their community understands the value of this donation. Some groups will immediately just, in the past, they went into the website and they could oversee their own account. But as it grew, we're doing all the admin. And the goal is so that, A, for security reasons, but B, it gives them more time to focus on their donor outreach and building relationships so that we can do that part for them. And we have different examples and PDFs that we send them, and we work with them. And I'm happy to make phone calls for them. That it's about partnership. And so everybody has kind of different needs. And so we work as a team to figure out what's best for them.
That's awesome. With that, we can talk about our big news that we announced at the end of last episode. Like I said, when I started talking before I introduced Molly, Kuranda is our first official sponsorship, and something that Molly and I have talked about, and Molly has agreed to be on board with this, and we're super excited about it, is that once a month, Kuranda Molly is going to sponsor a giveaway for us. And so they have the dog beds, they have cat beds, and they also have cat towers that Molly is going to allow us to give away to one of our listeners. So first, I want to thank you, Molly, for agreeing to do that.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're super excited about that. So I did an interview with Molly, and she said, hey, as I thank you for doing this interview with me, even though she was really doing us a favor, I was doing an interview with Molly so that she can share information about our podcast with thousands of people. Molly was nice enough to offer a gift to me, and I am very much so the person that's like, hey, you never know until you ask. So I asked Molly, I said, hey, what do you think about this? And she's like, heck yeah, let's do it. So thank you for that. So we are going to be doing those giveaways. You're gonna hear lots about Kuranda on the podcast because it is awesome that they are willing to do that for us. So give them a follow. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On Facebook, they're Kuranda Shelter Beds. On Instagram, they're Kuranda_shelter beds. And then on Twitter, they're at Shelter Beds on Twitter. Hey, it's Officer Hildy here, and I wanted to tell you about Anchor FM. We use Anchor for the Humane Roundup podcast for a few reasons. Let me explain. Anchor is free. They've got tons of tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or smartphone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Also, everything you need to make a podcast is here in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And that's ANCHOR.FM.
You're listening to the Humane Roundup podcast.
To get a chance to win one of these awesome prizes from Kuranda, go on to iTunes or Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. In your review, do hashtag Kuranda. And the guys and I and Molly will pick the review that we like the most, and you will be the winner of the first Kuranda Humane Roundup podcast giveaway.
Molly, I'm over here on my computer and I found a lot of options to buy these on Amazon. Where else can I find beds?
Great question. Well, to purchase them at retail prices would be at Kuranda.com or on Amazon. But to buy them for the discounted prices for animal welfare organizations, it's Kuranda Pro. And to have them donated is through shelterbeds.org. So you have all sorts of choices.
That's fantastic.
I would like to get some donated to the facility I used to work for, because they only had a few that were donated. But honestly, they have a lot of dogs there, and they have only blankets. So I would like to go back there because I got a lot of experience from there, and hopefully get a few of these donated so more dogs can sleep on these beds.
If you don't mind, afterwards, tomorrow I will follow up with you, and I would love to help them do that.
That would be great. You will really be helping out that community.
Thank you for helping us. And really, that's it. It's working together. That's how we make a bigger difference.
Well, and something I would say too, and I know we've been kind of on this topic for a while, but it's funny how this all ties together. Like, we started this episode talking to Daniel about, how this career field has changed. And, if you go back 20 years, dog beds or cat beds, they weren't as much of a necessity in shelters. Let's face it, the amount of time animals spent in a shelter was a lot less. Sometimes it was a day or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. And then they were getting euthanized or sent out somewhere else. That's just how it was. But now the way that the field for animal control officers or humane officers or protection officers has changed, where we're doing criminal cases and we're seizing animals as evidence. A lot of people don't understand that sometimes these animals can sit in a shelter for 6 months to a year, sometimes longer. They need sustenance. They need a good quality bed for them to sleep on because they are there long term sometimes. That's where Coranda comes into play. That's my 2 cents. That's the OPP 2 cents right there.
No, that's for real, because now they're sitting there longer, so they got to be comfortable. I remember back in my day where a dog was there 2 weeks. We were like, holy crap, this dog has been here forever.
Yeah.
And, now it's like 2 weeks, like, damn, that dog just got here.
Yeah. And I don't want to, bash competition or other brands of dog beds, but I guarantee some of our listeners and whoever's listening to this right now is going to go, yeah, probably my shelter. Or there are other dog beds out there that you might as well just have your animal on a towel on the concrete floor in your shelter. Yeah. If you look at the Coranda beds, the way they're designed, I mean, it's awesome. It's virtually like an air mattress. I mean, it's not an air-filled mattress, but it gets them up off the ground. It gives them some soft but also support at the same time. And animals need that just like people do. Just like Molly said, the better they sleep, the better they're going to behave, just like humans.
Well, I guess with that, if no one else has any other questions for Molly, we will let her go to bed because it is almost midnight where Molly lives right now.
I do have a question, a quick one. How do we get the Humane Roundup podcast logo on the sleep bed, on the actual sleep surface of the bed?
On all of them. Every single one.
I don't even think they have their own logo on them.
We don't even have our own logo. And the reason is this. Logos are being put on right now for certain environments, but to withstand the cleaning regimen in the shelters, we didn't find something that holds up to the chemicals. I mean, so the vinyl by itself does, and that's our goal. Is instead of us focused on our branding, we care that it's a durable product for the pets. And so at this point, we could put it on, but in your home it would last, but in the shelter it wouldn't. And so we're working.
Don't you feel like shit now, Daniel?
I never feel like shit.
But no, it's actually something we would love to be able to do. But the goal is, it's word of mouth.
All right. Well, we will let you go to bed now. You're more than welcome to hang out if you want to listen to the rest of the show, but I'm sure you want to go to bed because it's very late there. So thank you
but you don't have
so
to.
Much.
I do. I appreciate it. As well, I am going to wrap it up and let y'all go have fun. But thank you for what you're doing, because I do know animal controls officers around this country who now have someone else to reach out to. So thank you for what you're doing and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Really
appreciate you coming on.
And yeah, thanks for being here with us, Molly.
So, and if anybody else needs any help, like Joe talked out, feel free to reach out. So thanks, you guys. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And just really quick, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but one of our listeners reached out regarding a case they're working on, and I've been having some conversations, and we've been just sharing some good back and forth to kind of help with that investigation. It's pretty awesome to be that resource. I'm proud that we have the platform to do it.
Yeah, that is awesome.
It's time for Animal Encounters.
What's up, guys? Joe the ACO back here with Animal Encounters, and today we're going to be talking about, since last podcast we talked about Australia, and we're still trying to push these donations so that we can donate. So go ahead and purchase your shirt, so that way we can also donate to these little animals out in Australia that need help. So today I decided to go with the story about a koala. You guys probably seen this on our social media, or probably seen it around. But this is about a koala that was actually in the middle of the road. A cyclist was actually going on a marathon with other cyclists, and they saw this koala in the middle of the road. And when she tried to help him, apparently he moved quickly and climbed her bike and trying to get some water from this cyclist. And he drank 2 water bottles from her. And normally these guys are not very socialized with people. But apparently what happened this time, there was a heat wave going on. And this is already when the fire started. And it wasn't as big as it is now. But this is the beginning of it. And they were going through a heat wave. So these guys, the reason why it stood out to me, because, I mean, that just shows that, animals, they feel, they get thirsty, they get hungry. So when it comes to necessity, you will see them interacting with people because they need help. And this actually has happened with me when I interact with animals. I've seen animals be aggressive, but in time of need, I've seen them switch around and ask. Well, I wouldn't say asking, but their body language changes because they know that we're there to help, especially when they're injured. So that's why this video really stand out to me, because it's just a very neat situation. And I know there's a lot of animals out there. They're going through a lot, and that's why we want to help out. So what is your guys' take on this article? Have you guys seen the video?
This one's a tearjerker, man. It really is. Like this one, you're like, oh shit, I don't do anything on a day-to-day basis. I need to go help this koala.
Right? And well, it just shows you guys, because I mean, I'm sure you guys been on calls where there's a hit by car, even like a hit by car a feral cat. And feral cats normally are not the nicest cats, but I've seen feral cats get hit by cars, and out of nowhere they let me handle them. I don't know if they're because they're in a lot of pain, or they just need help, or they just feel that they sense that you're trying to help them out. But I've seen animals go from being aggressive to like, hey, I need a hand, and they completely let me handle them. So in a situation like this, I mean, obviously this koala, and even on the article, the girl named Anna, which is the girl in the video, says, normally you can see these guys from afar. You don't really get close to them, and they don't move as fast. And this one literally ran up to her bike, climbed up, and started chugging this water. So it's very interesting to watch, and it only makes me think about the other animals that are in this wildfire and also need desperate help, because they do. Some of these animals are very unique, and they do need our help. So again, guys, if you guys are listening, we still want you guys to support this shirt, or if you guys can donate anything that you can to help out these animals, because this money is actually going to help out all these animals in need, not just the people, because people already have plenty of help. From what I hear, there's already thousands of dollars, but we're really trying to help out these little guys because they really need a hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joe mentioned the fundraiser. There are only a couple of days left. We're going to be shutting that down on Sunday. This coming up Sunday, the 26th. So get them now, because they're going to be gone after that. So I did want to shout out to a few people that have purchased from us already. So we have Alejandro S, Tyler R, Ashley D.
Yeah, ring that cowbell.
Yeah, ring it. So thank you guys for supporting us. We've got it looks like 4 t-shirts we've sold already.
How about this? I'll put it on the air right now. Whatever the podcast raises in funds, Officer Paw Patrol will match it. How about that?
Ooh. Wow. So challenge there. We've only got 2 more.
Hey, go ahead and take on that challenge. So, but you know what though? Like this is how I look at it. Look, that design, it took work to make. Yeah, it did take time to make, and to be exact, it took about 2 hours just to get those animals, trace them up and then make them into a PNG file, and all that stuff took time, which it doesn't matter because the cost, whether we raise $5, $10, $20, as long as we get something, and we can make something out of it, like that's great. Because we could just be like, hey, go ahead and donate, and hopefully we're going to donate some money out of our pocket. But we just decided to make it a little bit more interesting by, hey, you get a shirt when you donate, So I'm really intrigued by this challenge that OPP just did.
Yeah, man, I'm serious. I'm not blowing smoke. So at the end of the shirts being available for this fundraiser that the Humane Roundup's doing, whatever we have raised, whatever that total is, Hildy, get a hold of me. We can do this on social media so it's public and everyone can hold me accountable. I don't care. My Officer Paw Patrol brand will match whatever the Humane Roundup raises. And then I'll send a check also.
Yeah. So there you guys have it. You heard it from OPP. So, and if you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, you guys got to go check him out. I actually been watching a lot of his YouTube channel just because I just been really.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I just been really like into the channel and watching like the beginning stages, and just kind of studying his movements of what he did and what he's been doing. So, because he's gonna be next for my interview as well. But anyways, guys,
hopefully that goes better than mine.
I feel so bad. I had all these questions for Dan. It was going so good too. Like it started off pretty good, and then
I think he's trying to get back at you because you didn't respond to him on Instagram.
Right.
It's not personal. We could do a round two. Do you know him? Part 2.
Do you know him?
But yeah, guys, that's my animal encounters. Again, it's just basically to kind of like a wake up call. Like this is actually really happening, and it's a pretty viral video. It's out there. People probably seen it before, but again, just kind of wanted to bring and shine that light back on here so people can also, help us donate.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say real quick too, and I know we got to move on. We're running short on time, but me and Ocho said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. As soon as the fires are out and the news cameras go away, the work doesn't stop there. That's when the real work starts. That's when those donations really matter. So,
exactly.
Absolutely. So, all right. Thank you for that, Joe. Officer Ettinger's got some updates on some trainings that are happening and things like that for us. So, take it away, Dan.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm thinking that we can maybe update once a month or so. There's so many that are going on, and it's some of them are local, some of them are national, some of them are done by Code 3. So the Nacho track that is associated with NACA. You have the new animal. I don't know it used to be ACTS, the Animal Control Training Services, but they have a new name. And so they're doing things kind of an academy in 2020. But I really wanted to focus on some of the bigger named trainings to start with. And then we can maybe next week dive into some of the other ones like LETI and the other smaller ones that we talked about. So if you, I guess if anyone's looking to go to an animal welfare conference this year, there's quite a few. And the first one on schedule is in Orlando from the Florida Animal Control Association. They have an annual conference, and that's February 21st to February 23rd. Then the Animal Care Conference, which is one in California, that one's going to be in Long Beach. So Hildy, Ocho, and Joe the ACO head over to LBC.
That's where I met Ocho, 2 years ago?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
And so that conference is in March, and that's March 22nd through the 24th. You have Texas Unites. That's a pretty big one for the state of Texas. That's going to be in Austin in April 25th through April 27th. The Humane Society of the United States has their annual expo. That's going to be in San Antonio this year.
San Antone.
It's just like Compton for my OGs out there.
That's the one. That's the one I'm trying to get to go to.
I'll be there. I got 2 shows. You can stay in my room.
Can't wait, dude. There is a lot of field classes for field services that really freak me on that one.
I'm doing 2
compared to the other ones.
Yeah, it's huge. I've never been. I'm super duper excited about that. Very honored to be part of that training. That's May 6th through the May 9th again in San Antonio. Then you have Best Friends. They're doing their annual conference in Orlando. That's June 17th through June 20th. The Association of Animal Welfare Advancement. They have a spring and a fall conference, and their conferences are kind of targeted to admin, but they also have some good field stuff as well. Their spring conference is actually June 3rd through June 5th, and then their fall conference is June. Sorry, yeah, hello. I don't think falls in June. Their fall conference is in September.
Daniel, I thought you said you stopped drinking. What the fuck, man?
I have. Yeah. It's Colorado, though, so use your imagination.
No, like I was interviewing earlier, and I had difficulties with my setup, but I was really trying to get to, you are very passionate about what you do. So I wish one of these days that you have some kind of, like hopefully Long Beach, I could sit down and actually watch you speak and teach a course, man, because that would actually be pretty cool. And
Long Beach with Long D.
Long Beach,
Dude,
man.
you're going to get called out so many times in that class, Joe. You're going to be like the teacher's pet.
I don't mind. I would love to just be in those courses because, like I told you guys, I haven't had much training or been to much training. All my experience, it's been out in the field, but I haven't really sat down much and been to courses and hear people like you guys teach, or talk about stuff like this. So it would be really nice to be able to go there to Long Beach and check you out. But the best thing will be it's watching you go to NACA and do your thing, girl. Because if you go there, girl, I'm gonna go drive and I'm gonna go see you, and we're gonna definitely support you, support our own, So hopefully someone is listening and can give this guy a shout out and say, hey, you know what? We got a spot for you. Let's do this. And you know why we're doing this? Because your buddy Joe the ACO said something on the podcast, and girl, we got your back. Snap, snap.
Yeah, we do. Snap, snap.
I didn't. Snap. The 2 that I have currently is going to be the Florida Animal Control Conference, which is coming up in February. Very excited about that one. And then HSUS. Those are the 2 national conferences, I guess you could say. I've put in for a few. I've gotten rejected from a few, which is normal. That happens. But I do a lot of teaching for LETI, which for those of you that don't know what that is or are familiar with it, it's an extension of the University of Missouri. It stands for the Law Enforcement Training Institute. They also have national animal cruelty classes that, go in depth. We talk about things from bestiality to animal fighting to animal law to just general animal welfare safety, animal control officer safety, those type of things. So that's available to be booked. You can book classes just for your department, for your agency, those type of things. So Joe, holler at your department and I'll come with LETI and put on a class for you if you'd like, sir.
Well, our department's not that big, but maybe around the area, like the agencies around the area, that would be nice to get together.
It would be, but
all right. Well, thanks for that, Dan. We will get all of that information typed up somewhere and put into the show notes, so you will have access to that. And with that, I don't have anything else for us today. What's going on with you guys this week?
I don't want to make this like a promo for my platform or anything, but I've got some big things coming and changing for Officer Paw Patrol. We were talking about it off the air, but Joe and me have been bouncing ideas off of each other constantly. I actually off the air, he actually saw a new intro that I'm doing for all my YouTube videos. So I'm working on that. My channel is going to kind of get like a complete rebranding, so to speak. So I'm excited for that. If anyone that's listening is also a subscriber, a follower of Officer Paw Patrol, make sure you check out all my new stuff coming up. Other than that, I'm just grinding it out at work. That's all.
By the way, that intro is fire. Okay, so you know how you see people coming up on YouTube, like their first videos, they kind of suck. And then
mine,
like, dude,
did.
they go from this and then you go, bam, like, shit, this shit looks professional now. Like, dude, ever since you got that camera, like, your stuff been on point. So it's like, and you caught on to it pretty quick too. Like, most people get a nice camera, they don't know what the hell to do with it. But you got, like, I'm surprised you caught on to it pretty quick.
I think part of it is like knowing how to use a camera or learning how to use the camera, but at a certain point it comes to like artistic skill. And I'm not trying to say I'm some like, artistic savant by any means, but you can't teach creativity. No, I'm serious though. Like, you can't teach creativity, so I do think that's a big part of it. Like look at Joe's stuff. Like, when it comes to t-shirts, like I sell a shit out of t-shirts on my brand, but none of my t-shirts are nearly as good at the artistic level as Joe's are. I have no problem admitting that. So it's just one of those things. Like, I might be able to screen print, or if he sent me his design, yeah, I can make a t-shirt that looks just like his because I have the skill, but I couldn't design what he designs. So,
well, that's what I like about, this, that like you're getting that creative side of you, and you're exploring with what you're doing and applying it to this field, which is kind of like, in a way, mainstream, because we're doing stuff to make this field stand out. But I like it because this department or this career needs more mainstream to be more out there like that. And just like Coranda, not Coranda, Molly. She even mentioned that her kids watch you. So it's like, that's pretty cool, man, because that's already people catching on to what you're doing. And that's what I'm saying. We need more of that stuff, more of that creativity.
Can I just throw down a challenge to both of you and everyone on the podcast? What if we started making product that we need, like, in the field, right? For us, and that, like, I love what you both do as far as artistic goes. It's nice to be able to wear that and wear it with pride when you're out in public or underneath your uniform or something like that. But our boy with a PAWmaster 597, today I saw he came out with some gloves, some tactical gloves, right? So, like, what are some things, what are some ideas? And maybe we hold that information off the air, but we have a conversation how we can come together and collaborate and give back some tools that we need in the field, right? I think that would be a really cool marketing aspect or opportunity to help with just growing the brand.
Tools like net grenades.
Net grenades.
Hold on. I didn't really understand the question. So you
the
want me
question
to go hit
is,
up
like,
the streets?
What the question really is, like, the
there
shirts
was
are
no
great.
question. It was a suggestion.
Oh, well, no, it cut out of my end. So he was.
It's a suggestion slash question. I guess I don't want you.
Then I heard PAWmasters.
I don't want to give away, like, ideas, but at the same time, like, shirts are great, hats are great, right? Like, putting your brand and logo out there is wonderful. But at the same time, like, are there tools that we're missing in the field that we can create, right, that can help our peers?
Tell you, net grenades. How awesome would that be? Toss a grenade, boom, it's a net. God.
I feel like it's a conversation we need to have off the air.
I agree, but I think we're the guys to do it. I really feel like there's plenty of opportunity to do more and continue to support the brand that you have.
You know what I think we need?
I got one right now. This is $1 million idea. Ready?
Taco Wednesday.
Snappy lariats. Oh.
Ooh, I don't know how we make that.
Lariats.
I honestly have like $1 million idea for the podcast, and I'm just going to put it out there on the air. I don't care, because I look at all of us. Daniel's obviously got the most epic beard out of all of us. I've got a beard. Ocho's got some facial hair. Joe's got some facial hair. Hildy, we're still waiting to go through puberty. But the rest of us, we need some like beard oil or something like that we can sell. Put our faces on it. That's $1 million idea. Humane Roundup beard oil.
My manscaping changes with the time.
Hildy, can we use this as a place marker? Because I want you to cut it out. Matt, does everyone carry a collapsible baton?
Yes. I'm actually an ASP instructor.
All right, cool. So what if we made one that had the ability to have like a mini catch pole inside of it? Hear me out. Like you could open. No, listen. What? Yeah, this could work. Just listen. I'm not joking. Think about it. You
bonk
open it up.
bonk a dog over the head, or
And then you can, and then slap them on the catch pole. The mini catch.
Dude, I like it.
All right,
hold on. I could draw it out for you. I'm not.
This
joking.
needs to stay on the air because you know what? You know what I just thought of when you said
you're right. You were the
Daniel,
humane
what's
humor.
This is, I don't know why, but this is what I thought of. You remember like the old like magician's wands, and then the flowers would come out.
Yeah.
That's what I pictured. That's what I pictured.
Man.
Oh, this conversation stays on the air.
Because what if we created that, like that? Every APO could have one of those. Like that is a financial. You know,
I don't get one. I'm not an APO.
Oh, come on, son. You're an APO. You're all APO.
ACO, baby. ACO, baby.
No, man, this ain't 1980.
Oh,
this
God.
is 2020.
I'm an Apple.
Oh my
Apple.
god. I love.
So, where were we? How do we get so lost into this?
We were talking about what
We're into outrageous
this
ideas.
week. Let's wrap it up. So, next week, stay tuned for next week's episode. We are going to have Officer Sorensen on from Long Beach Animal Services.
LBC.
She is going to be talking about the Long Beach Animal Care Services Explorer Academy, and she is heavily involved in that. And basically what it is it's a for youth ages 15 through 20 who are interested in a public service job that has to do with animal control or animal care. So she's going to come and talk about that. I think that program is awesome, and hopefully she can kind of talk about how that got started, and potentially maybe someone listening to the show can get something like that started in their area. So stay tuned for that next week. Like I said, our Australia fundraiser is going to be ending on Sunday, the 26th. So make sure you get your apparel before then, before it's too late. And then I also wanted to share that I did an interview this morning with Adam Ritchie, who is on the board of NACA and hosts NACA's podcast. And so I did an interview with him on the podcast. So make sure you check that out. Their podcast is literally just called NACA's Podcast. So as far as I know, they're on podbean.com, and I've seen them on Spotify. I don't know where else their podcast is hosted, but I do know they're in those two areas. So check that out. And like I said, we are giving away some Kuranda products. So
Yeah.
when you
We're sponsored, y'all.
yeah. So make sure when you do that review, you do hashtag Kuranda if you want to be entered to win either a dog bed, cat bed, or a cat tower. So.
And are we revealing a winner next episode?
Yes, we are.
Cool.
That's crazy to think that we actually have a sponsor. Like, to be honest, it's really mind blowing.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it brings up further further opportunities for us. And so, for example, some of us that use the swab units or the Mavron units in our vehicle, like we need to reach out to them. We need to get in touch with ACEs. We need to get in touch with Catchpole. And there's plenty of opportunities.
Yes.
Catch all. Yeah. Like, you know, maybe they can help me with my design on my ASP baton. But the reality is like the sky's the limit in that sense. Like she said, Molly, what an awesome experience to have someone like her on, who is giving us feedback, not only as somebody in the animal welfare profession, but as a fan in that sense. Like I think I'm with Joe, the ACO here, where it's like a humbling, amazing experience to know that we're being listened to by people in the animal welfare industry. OPP, you have, her children are watching you on YouTube. Like this is the time. Like we need to seize the moment, and I'm excited moving forward. And we just got to put our hands in the pot and keep going, man.
And the other thing too, like you said, Dan, it is mind blowing. But never mind. Just go.
I'm gonna say I mean Daniel's kind of got me all like pumped up and motivated now, and there's it's not a saying or a quote or anything, but something I kind of live by is when you start getting some traction with something, that's not when you sit back and relax. That's when you dig down deep, and that's when you kind of you really focus in on it and you hammer it home. And I kind of feel like that's where we're at. We're really starting to make a difference. We're starting to make an impact, and this is the time we got to grind it out so we can keep going.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say what I was going to say. Go. So pretty much like Kyle said, right now, this is the time when we get down and work, and just having that sponsorship, having her coming up to us and being on the podcast, it really does show that what we're doing it's actually kind of like a what do you guys say, like an accomplishment, a milestone, or help me out here, guys.
Milestone. It is a milestone. We're 21 fucking episodes in, and we got a sponsor, so we're going to continue to move forward. Please don't take my excitement or my confidence as arrogance. That's not what it's about. It's, as I said in the interviews, I've been through a lot, and to sit here today with a group of guys that I not only have formed a friendship with, but a professional relationship with, like, it's an awesome opportunity. So I want to continue that moving forward, and we're here for you. Like, that's the reality is, if you're listening to this, we are here for you. We're here to help this industry move forward. We're here to help you. We're here to help your agency. However we can help, we want to do that.
And you know how, sorry, my microphone went out, but I'm back. But she was saying how we're really helping her. But I think today she really helped us to motivate us to push it harder and grind harder. That's the reality. Like, as much as she says we're helping her, she like sparked the motivation in this group by a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Officer Paw Patrol and Daniel were saying, it is awesome to hear from a fan, from someone in the profession, from a listener, to hear that people are even reaching out to her. Because I don't think I mentioned this when I talked about it, but on our website, I've added a spot for people to add anonymous questions or suggestions or whatever on there, because Molly had some people reaching out to her who were wanting to get some questions answered or to have us talk about something in particular on the show. And they work in smaller areas, and they thought that if they said something, that someone would be able to figure out that it was them, and they didn't want to have the backlash. So to hear from her that she is very excited about what we're doing, that people are reaching out to her, that new officers, people that are in the industry already, and people are telling her that we are kind of their only connection because their agencies can't get them to conferences or won't send them to conferences. So them hearing us talking is kind of motivating them to keep going, giving them information about things that they can do. We're helping new officers. It is really, really awesome. So with that, let's shut her down for this episode. And we hope you guys are back next episode.
Shut her down.
I wonder how many people are going to start calling you Skinny Long D now.
Let's find out. I might have to change my Instagram name.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Hey, everybody, drop us a line. Who's your prediction for the Super Bowl? Let us know.
Oh, you know what? I got a
Kansas City or San Francisco.
Let us know.
Give us
Some
a call.
dog commercial will win it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Later.